Welcome to this video clip. In this video clip, we are going to look at how to start another activity, how to start another app, and then how to receive result back from that activity or the app we just started. First of all, to start another activity, an Android app normally has multiple activities. Each activity interacts with the user for a special task. For example, an activity to get input from the user and then another activity to display the result. As we have seen before, we use an explicit intent to start an activity. Suppose this is the screen of the main activity. There is an edit field for the user to input a greeting text and then a button to send the greeting text to another activity to display. Here's the Java code that create an explicit intent and use the intent to start a specific activity. These Java code are implemented in the onClick method of the button's onClick listener. When the user clicks the button, the target activity is started. We refer this activity as a sub-activity. When the sub-activity is closed by the user, it will return to the previous activity, the main activity in this case. The current activity can also start another sub-activity in the same way. When it is closed, it returns to this middle one. When the middle one is closed, it will return to the main activity. This is the default setting. The sub-activity can return to a specific activity if the parent activity is defined in the manifest file. In the attribute of the sub1 activity, we define the parent activity as the main activity. By doing so, the activity will not return to the previous one. Instead, it returns to the parent activity directly. When the parent activity is defined, the up button appears. Click the button will close the sub-activity and then return to the main activity directly. To summarize, when the sub-activity is closed, it returns to previous activity by default. If you define the parent activity for it, it will return to the parent activity. Now we are going to look at how to start another app from your app. Sending the user to another app to perform a specific action is one of the Android's most important features. For example, you can send the user to a camera app to take a photo, and then you use the photo in your app. There are two types of intents: explicit intents and implicit intents. Explicit intents have its target component. For example, we create an explicit intent to start an activity. The target activity is specified. and we definitely want to start the particular activity. Here is the Java code. It creates an explicit intent by taking the target class as the second argument in the constructor. The second type of intents are implicit intents, which doesn't specify the target component, but specifies the action the component would take. We use an implicit intent to start another app. Those apps in the device which has an intent filter to fill in this action would take actions. For example, we create an implicit intent here. The intent doesn't have the target name, but it specifies the view action. Then we use this intent to start an activity. Someone or some apps in the device which can take this action would be started. However, the app would crash if there's no app in the device which can take the specific action. The solution is, which is recommended by Google, we create the implicit intent as normal, use the intent to start an activity later, but only after we have checked if there is any app that can take intended action or not. If not, we don't start the activity. When starting a sub-activity, the communication can be two ways. The main activity can pass data to the sub-activity, and the main activity can also receive result back from the sub-activity. To be able to receive result back, we need to start the activity in a slightly different way. Create an intent, which can be explicit or implicit, and then call the method startActivity4result, which takes the intent as the first argument and the request code as the second argument. And this request code is an integer and will be used in another method later on. Normally, we declare it as a constant in the activity class field. We can pass data to the started activity by putting data onto the intents extra field. The extra field holds data in the so-called key value pair. The key is a text string. The data can be any data type. When you want to get the data out, you have to use the key to get the data. Normally, we declare the key as public constant so that other classes can use the same key to get the data out. When we start an activity for results, we need to override the onActivityResult method to receive the result. The method will be called by the system when the sub-activity has completed and finished. The request code, which is this argument, is the code we have used to start the activity. The result code and the data held by the intent are from the sub-activity. So we need to check if the finished activity is the one we just requested. If they are not matched, don't do anything. Also check if the result is okay or not. If yes, do something. Otherwise, do something else. These are what you need to prepare for the main activity to receive result back from the sub-activity. If your main activity starts multiple activity, you can add more decision making in the overwritten method, and based on the different request codes, you take different actions. So one request code, another request code. You may have more. To summarize, when the user clicks this button, send button, this Java code will be executed. The sub-activity is then started. When the sub-activity is finished and closed, it will return to the main activity, and the on-activity result method is called with the request code we just used, which is this one. Now, in the sub-activity, we can retrieve data sent from the main activity by using this Java code. We do this normally in onCreate method. By calling the getIntent method, we can get the intent which was used to start the current activity. We can retrieve data from the extra field of the intent using the same key which is defined in the main activity. To send the data back, we need to create an intent, set the result with it, and then close the activity by calling finish method. After the sub-activity has finished, the system will call the onActivity result method using the intent created by the sub-activity with the result code so that the main activity can process the data held by this intent. See you next time.